The other day I had a really interesting conversation with a person who said that she really wasn't happy in her life. And when she told me that, I just started doing what any good coach would do, and I started asking her questions because I was thinking that maybe I could help her, at least to put her on track to getting from where she is now to where she really wants to be. So I continued to ask questions. And the first question that I asked was, so when you say that you're not happy, what do you mean? What is it that you don't have in your life that you would like to have? And she said, well, it's really pretty simple. She said, I'm working way too much at a job that I really don't like very much. I'm not making the kind of money that I want to make, and I don't have a whole lot of time for myself. And I was like, well, that sounds familiar. That sounds a lot really familiar because I've heard this over the years. I used to be in part that way years and years ago, and before I decided to make a change in my life. And I've heard it so often from other people. So I just continued to ask her questions, and I took her through a model that if you are in a similar situation and you would like to make some sort of change in your life, but you're not sure how to do it, maybe this will help you, okay? So first of all, let's just work on that, and I want to show you this model based on what this woman told me, all right? So let's say you want to be happy, okay? You want to have a better quality of life, okay? And so the first question I asked, and this whole thing is based on questions. Because if you really want to be a problem solver, if you really want to get to the next level in life, if you really want to really be a good guide for others, it could be your kids, it could be your teammates, it could be the people you coach, it could be your students, it could be anybody, it could be your family members, then you're going to want to get good at asking yourself really good questions. And so the first question I asked her, and I got my answer, was, I said, what is it that you don't have? What is it that you want to have more of that you don't have? And she said, I want to have more time, I want to have more money, and I want to have a job that I like. And so whenever you get to one stage, we're at the second stage now, you can always ask more questions. That's the thing you want to do. You want to continue to ask questions. Why is that? Why is that? Why is that? What do you mean? Keep asking yourself questions. And so when I asked her, I said, well, if you had more time, you say you want to have more time. Time to do what? And so she said, I want to be able to spend more time with my family. I want to spend more time with my friends. And I want to spend more time for my hobbies. That's what I want. And I was like, okay. And so then I asked her the question about money. I said, when I talk to you about money, what comes to mind? What is it that you're missing? And she said, I would like to stop living month to month. I want to be able to go on nice vacations. I also want to start investing. I want to save more money. I want to get a nice car. And I was like, okay, now we're starting to get somewhere. All right. And I said, what about your job? When you talk about your job, what comes to mind? What is it that you're missing in your job? And she said, I would like to have a job that's more stimulating. I want to have a job that's going to help me to grow, where I'm going to learn something. And she said, I also want to be around other people. And I was like, okay, great. Here we go. Now we're starting to get somewhere. And so now we move on to the next column. So this is column 1, this is column 2, this is column 3. And now we move on to column 4 of this tree that we're building. And then we start to ask ourselves these questions. So if these are the things that I want more time, more money, to do these things, to be able to do these things. So now the question becomes, how can I get those things? How? So one of the things I'm going to need to do is I'm going to have to figure out how to manage my time. So I might need to take a course. I might need to get a coach. And when I say course, I mean a course about time management. I might need to get a coach that's going to help me to do this. I might have to educate people around me. It's just like I heard one of my dear friends, Adriana Caliri, the other day. She was talking about how, when you first get a new job, let's say in a corporate environment, and she said in the very first month, it's really important to educate people about how they can treat you. So if you're answering emails at 11 o'clock at night, you're educating people in the wrong way. You're actually telling them it's okay to send me emails late because I'm going to answer them anytime you send them to me. And that's wrong. That's one of the reasons why you don't have time, you know? And so you might have to start educating people. It's the same thing that I talk to about my small business owner clients, is that, you know, if every time that somebody knocks on your door, you're in the office and you're working on stuff that's really important, and every single time that somebody knocks on your door, you make yourself immediately available, that's educating people in the wrong way. That's why you don't get anything done, because you're always worried about other people and you're always helping them and you're not focused enough on your stuff, right? So you might need to educate. And to do that, you might have to get some help from family members or colleagues, or, you know, you might have to get some help from people so that you can manage your time better, so that you will have time. You might have to also help you to understand how you are utilizing your time. That's actually one of the first things that you're going to want to do. You want to find out, how am I using the time that I have available to me? Am I using that in the best way possible? I might have to go do a course. I might have to get a coach. I might have to educate people. I might have to get help from my family members, my colleagues, my boss, whatever, to be able to manage my time in the best way possible. All right? Then we move on to money. And with regard to money, we might have to start, if you really want more money, and the only thing that you know how to do right now is this kind of profession and work in companies, here's something I'm going to tell you that could be pretty harsh, but I'm going to tell you anyway, because I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just here to stimulate thought. And there's another saying, and if you follow me for any length of time, you're going to know I have so many sayings and quotes that I just love, and I apply them to my everyday life. And one of these sayings is, if you're not clear on what you want out of your life, then you're probably going to end up working for someone who does know that for themselves. Wow, that's tough, huh? And so you can work all the rest of your life, and that's what some people do. There's nothing wrong with that. If you work in a great company, like I was working in a wonderful company, I just felt that I had something inside of me that told me that I needed to be on a mission to do something else. But I have still colleagues that I worked with years ago that are still there, and there's nothing absolutely wrong with that. If you love working in that company and a company's giving you what you want, and you're not sure what you would have wanted to do in life, and you fell on this and you got lucky, and maybe the company is a great company and you love it, then that's fine. That's fine. But if you're not sure and you're not happy, like this woman told me, then you might have to start looking for alternatives. You might have to think about starting your own business. Start your own business. Could be you might want to start doing something that has to do with marketing online, you know? Thinking about different ways to make money, because there are so many different ways to make money. So many different ways. I remember one of the things that I did when I left the corporate world, one of the things I always wanted to do, I went to New York for a year and I studied acting. I always wanted to do that. And it was something that now that I look back, I am so happy that I did that. You know, I can always say, and then nobody can ever take that away from me, that experience. And I remember in acting, there's, you know, acting technique classes, there's scene study classes, there's Shakespeare, there's voice projection classes, there's body movement, there's so many different kinds of classes. And I remember in the body movement class, there was our teacher's name was Grant Neal. And I remember he asked us a question that after all these years, I never forgot it. And he said, how many different ways are there for you to get what you want? And just by asking that question automatically makes you think that if you ask me that question, there's probably more ways than the ones that I've been thinking about. And it's so true. And the reason they ask us that question with regard to acting is because if you react to the same kinds of situations in your acting in the same exact way, you're going to be a boring actor. There's different ways to react to stuff, you know? And so there's different ways to make money. There's so many different ways out there. And if you don't know what they are, that doesn't mean that they don't exist. It means you just don't know what they are. So you might have to you might have to go take a course in this. You might have to read something. You might have to look somebody up online, find a thought leader or somebody, you know, do something similar to like what you're doing right now to inform yourself, to see what other options there are for you to try to get to the things that you want to get to in life. So, you know, And you could think, and maybe in your situation, maybe there's other things that you could list here too. I just want to give you some ideas. So then you think about the job, okay? You don't like your job. What is it that you don't like about your job? You say you want to be stimulating. What does that mean? You could even do a branch off of this. What does it mean? Stimulating, what does that mean? It means that, you work on projects, maybe that you travel, maybe that, you know what I mean? Whatever that means for you, okay? Could be travel, could be projects, it could be working in a team. Maybe right now you're working all alone and you don't like it. Or maybe you're working, something that's, maybe you want to work a day job instead of working nights. Whatever it is. You could always branch these things off. Growing, what does that mean? I want to grow. What do you mean grow? You want to make more money? You want to be promoted? Maybe you want to manage people? What does that mean, right? Anyway, then you start thinking about, how can I get these things? Well, one of the things that you're definitely going to want to do is to clarify. You want to get more clarity. Sit down and think about what it is, each one of these things that you say you want to learn something. What do you want to learn? About what? About what specific topics do you want to learn? What does learn mean for you? How does that incorporate in your daily job? Does that mean that you sit there for 8 hours a day learning new stuff? Or does that mean that somebody's teaching you something that you have to actually do, and by that you actually grow? What does it mean? Ask yourself more questions. You want to work with other people. What kind of people do you want to work with? Do you want to work with older people? You want to work with younger people? Do you want to work with people who have other skills that you have? If you want to work with people who have other skills that you have, what kind of skills do you want them to have? Because maybe that'll help you to learn. Maybe that'll help you to grow. Maybe that'll make it more stimulating. See what I'm saying? There's always more questions that you can ask. But the first thing is to get clarity. Clarity on what it is you want. If you don't like your job, instead of just looking for another job, putting your resume out there, getting on LinkedIn or whatever you do, or answering headhunters, first figure out what it is you really want. Figure out what it is you really want. And think about then other ways, alternatives to get maybe some of these things in the job that you already have. Because maybe the answer isn't to leave and to go someplace else. It could be that you have it right under your nose, you just haven't asked for it. So you might have to ask, right? But this is going to be easier, and this is going to be easier if you have this first, okay? Get clarity. Ask yourself questions. You can make this a tree that's this big, okay? Just start by clarifying these things. What's important for you in your job? What is it that you have? What is it that you don't have? What is it that you want? And what does each one of these mean? Okay? So I just wanted to give you this model that you could use if you're trying to make a change in your life, if there's something that you want to improve. Maybe you want to improve your quality of life. Maybe you want to be happier. Maybe because you realize that time is passing by. Maybe it's because of what happened over the last couple of years. With the COVID situation, now there's the war, and then there's inflation, and maybe you've been forced to do something different in your life, but you're not sure how to do it. That's what I've run into. I've run into a lot of people who want to make some sort of change in their life. They want to be happier. They want to have a better quality of life, but they have no clue of where to start. You could start here. Start here. Start clarifying what it is you really want. And this is a method. It's not the only method, but it's a method that can help you to get from where you are to at least start to think about how you could get to where you really want to be. All right? So if you found this helpful, please share it with somebody that you think might need it, or come back and look at it again if you need to go through this again. At any rate, stay with me. If you're looking to make some sort of change in your life, I've done it. I've done it. I'm someone who understands you. If you're working in a company and you think that, because everybody around you is telling you should be happy, is in times like these, you should just be happy to have a job. If you're tired of hearing that, if you can't find anybody who you can relate to, who understands you, come see me. Come see me. Stay with me. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.